Hey everyone, this is Florence database migration hell hard level scenario. The last scenario, I spent so much time doing this. Eventually, I couldn't solve it and I had to look up the solutions, the clues. And even after looking at the clues, I realized that it's too hard for me. So I actually messaged the Camille Blas, the scenario creator, and he told me that don't worry, even if you cannot solve it under realistic circumstances, they want to see how far you can go. They want to see how many things you can fix, how many things you have to look into, like config files, logs, basically your thought process and how far you can go with this scenario. So even if you cannot like pass the automated check, they want to see if you like if you solve, let's say, 5 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, and based on your overall performance, they want to see uh, how well you do. So this scenario is actually hard, and given my current level of knowledge, I don't think I would be able to solve it. So let's actually read the problem description. You're working as a DevOps engineer in the company. Another team member left the company and left the Docker Compose YAML of a database backed web application unfinished. Generally, the problem revolves around database migration and Docker Compose. Additionally, on front, there is an Nginx servlet, and you need to fix the proper access to it as well. So we have a couple of sticky points here, right? It's not one thing, but actually quite a lot of things that we have to fix. And here we're using CRT, like certifications. So we might even have to create them, right? This is the first thing that comes to my mind. Because whenever you have to deal with certificates, sometimes they're expired. Just a side note. Um, so let's see what it returns. Couldn't reserve host set server local. So I actually noticed that there is set server local. There is a name for this. So I made another side note saying that I don't just do curl local host. I have to somehow put somewhere this name set server dot local. Anyways, let's see what we have here. We have app. We have v that Docker Compose file that is unfinished. So we have three services here: DB, API, and API aggregator. We have the last API aggregator depends on IP, and API has no dependency, but there is database URL. So the API must connect to database. So database is the first thing that has to be online. So I'm immediately thinking, well, I'm thinking right now, like I'm thinking fast, but back when I was doing, I spent 2 days. So I didn't even know that you have to add dependency here. So we have to add a dependency. We have to add a dependency because before API and API aggregator start, we have to make sure that there is a database container properly working. So here we have to add depends on, and we have to add DB, right? And this is actually the first clue. If you check out the clues, this is the first clue. And also, this is the thing that I missed. The condition, the service must be healthy. I didn't even know there is such thing in uh, in Docker Compose files. I didn't even know that this thing exists. Like there is condition that you can put. And here this is another thing that I didn't actually put. We have to put the health check. So I have this health check, this whole thing nicely prepared for me here. So I'm gonna actually just insert it here. This is the health check. So let me actually quickly guide you through. So this is CMD shell, PG is ready, U IP aggregator. PG is ready is like just a standard utility tool that allows us to check if the web server is running. We do 2 retries of this in the starting period of 15 seconds, and the interval and the timeout are both 10 seconds. So I think this is good enough. Okay, let's actually see if we can if we can actually bring it up. So we have just registry running. If we do docker compose up build d, this dash d means detached mode. Build means building from scratch again, and something is not working here. So mapping values are not allowed in this context, line 28. I think we should probably do it like this. No, it's not working. Okay. Additional property condition is not allowed. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, I forgot that I actually need to put it in here. Hold on. Yeah, I figured out my mistake. So here, um, we have to here we actually have to like here you can see in depends on, there is dash API. So this is like, you can basically add another thing that it depends on, another sort of service, another service name. However, in the case of when you add just condition, you don't want to put a dash here. That's very important. That's why it fails. And you don't want to put it under, like, under the same line, because this field condition is like a subfield for the DB. So this is how it should be. There should be like indentation here. So if we do docker compose up is the command to bring it up, and build is basically build it from scratch using all of the Docker files. And by the way, I didn't show you the Docker files. Anyway, so it's actually building up. We're not done yet. There's still so many things to do, but I want to see the logs. I want to see whether the 3 containers go up and stay online, or if some of them actually fail. So now it's building from scratch using the dash build. And let's see, yeah, so we have container DB, API aggregator, and I think they're spinning them up. Yeah, they're being created. Yeah, one of them failed. If we do docker ps, we see the currently running containers. This is DB, and that's it. There is none. There is only the registry, which was before. So we have just the DB, and they didn't work. Anyways, if we do docker ps -a, this shows us all of them. So they're created, and some of them failed, right? So apparently something is not working. Anyways, let's actually look into other containers. So what we have, docker file for the API. Here, everything seems to be kind of like correct. It exposes the port 9000, just starts the server go file. There's also the migrations. Inside the migrations, we have one users up. So here we're creating API aggregator role with a password. We have to look into the password, as this is MD5 hash, and we have to check if this is actually correct. So everything after MD5 starting with 3AG, we have to actually check it. I cannot decode the hash. If you Google it, you will quickly find out that you cannot decode the hash. You have to actually double check what value is being put in the hash, what is coded, what is encoded in the hash. Anyways, what do we have in the 2 comments up? Here we just have some table creation and values. We're inserting some values. Okay, this seems to be okay. Let's look into API aggregator. Here we have another Docker file here. What is it? We have the node. So we have a node thing running. We have an index.js running and exposing at 3000. This is our API aggregator. What is inside the index.js? We have some, yeah, it basically does a connection. It connects and basically prints out the console connected to the database, ready to serve request. Now server is not set. So this is the index.js. This is API aggregator. Okay. Now let's look into actual container, which is our Postgre, right? So there's 3 services in Docker Compose: API aggregator, and PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL is database, is our database. So what do we see here? Immediately I notice that there is run chmod plus x, this thing. So this looks like a suspiciously like trying to elevate privileges and trying to execute some kind of entry point shell. We don't know exactly what is in this file, entry point shell. We're running Postgres version 9, Postgres 9. Anyways, I'm gonna add here user root right away, because we have to be root to actually run this. We need elevated privileges, and after that I'm going back to user Postgres and I'm running the entry point. Let's look into the entry point. What do we have here? Here we have a script. So this is a script that is executed inside Docker file on start. Exec Postgres means start the Postgres server. Here there seems to be like, these are the pghba-conf. This is the config file inside PostgreSQL container in a PostgreSQL server that allows the connections to be like basically this allows to establish the connections, and it basically sets the rule like what who and what and under what circumstances can connect. Here it's using MD5 hash, so this means the connection password has to be MD5 encrypted. Now let's see if I actually manage it to um, resolve the issue. So I'm gonna start the whole thing again, and let's see if it works. Again, I spent about like 2 days or 3 days doing this. So this time we at least we got container DB running and healthy. So it is passing the health checks. So we have, okay, we have DB container running, API, and API aggregator is not running. What happened to API aggregator? API aggregator exited 16 seconds ago. So it started, but it didn't properly finish. So I'm gonna look into its logs. Container ID is starting with what? Container ID is EG4. That's API aggregator. That's the name API aggregator, and that's the EG4 something, right? So I'm gonna just when you're using Docker, you can just basically look up the logs based on the first letters of the container ID. So we can see that there is something is not working. So it's actually printing to the console. Remember that what it was printing in the index server JS connected to the database, ready to serve requests, and here it's saying no PGA entry for host. There is no entry for host, so we have to do something. SSL is off, right? So it's basically saying client authentication failed. It could not connect. So apparently we have three. We managed to get 3 of them running. One of them failed because it couldn't connect. So there's probably something we have to look into here. That's the thing that I mentioned. So we have to add this line right into here. This thing. So what this does is this allows IP aggregator, this specific role, to connect from any IP address using MD5 encrypted connection. That's the thing. Okay, let's try this again. And yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot this thing. Yeah, this is going to fail because I did not check the password. The password was the problem. Yeah, because I don't know exactly what I put in the MD5 hash. A quick Google check will show us that there is a proper way to add the MD5 hash. So I'm going to show you. Yeah, so API aggregator failed again. I don't see it up and running. We only have API and DB running. So let me actually check some of the clues. So this was the clues. Yeah, so we're using the right command. We were checking the logs. Yeah. Investigate dependency on container. You need to run database first and then the application. The problem is that the application tries to start, but the database is not really ready, but the container indicates up and running. So I added depends on and a health check. Yeah, at least we got 3 of them running. Okay, not gonna look in the next clue. Let's actually continue investigating. Remember, I told you this is a hard scenario. So let's actually look into here. So this is the hash. This is the hashed password, right? The password is the everything that starts with 3AG. A quick Google check shows us that there is a proper way to do this. So let me actually quickly explain. So usually there is username plus password. There is a username plus password that has to go into the encrypted hash. And let me actually show you. There is a, so yeah, if we want to actually get the correct hash, we have to do this command. So we have to get the SAT server, which is the password, and we have to use the API aggregator, which is the username. See, user password and username. and this is what we're passing here. So if you actually double check, let's actually double check with me. If we just do the, yeah, we see that this is the correct hash that we have to put in here. Again, this is SAT server plus API aggregator. API aggregator is the username, SAT server is the password. So this is password plus username. And then you actually add it right after the MD5. So there was intentionally put a wrong password, wrong value for the password. Okay, this thing seems to be correct. Let's try it. Okay, I forgot the keyword up. Remember that uh, the server name has to be SAT server local. So we have to look somewhere where it actually belongs. Okay, so again we have IPNDB, but we still don't have the for some reason we don't have the IP aggregator. IP aggregator is container ID 080. So let's actually quickly check the logs. 080. Password authentication failed for user IP aggregator. I wonder why. Password authentication failed for user IP aggregator. Okay. This is strange. I don't understand. Severity is fatal. Okay. What's wrong? Failed for user IP aggregator. Is everything correct here? I think everything's correct here. So the health check is okay, but it cannot connect. Strange. And as you can see, even though I've solved this question before, I basically just memorized the whole sequence of steps. So again, this is a hard problem, right? I don't even understand what's going on. So I'm actually going to just try to, just continue going further. Like I said, there is SAT server local, right? So we have to do something like here is giving us a hint. Additional front-end application, there is Nginx server, and you need to fix the proper access to it as well. So there is we have to look somewhere probably here, and we have to adjust the, hold on a second. We actually have to adjust the configs here. So I have to add local as to be recognized so that it can redirect into SAT server local. Again, this is a hard level scenario. Like to know all of this means that you are pretty good. You are pretty much like expert DevOps engineer. You pretty much can fix any broken web server. And there is also, because we're using the Nginx certs, there is probably a need to update the certifications. But before we do this, let's do one more try of speeding up the containers. And again, let me check. Password authentication failed. Yeah, so another thing that we want to do is we want to update our certifications. And here's basically what I copied from the clues. So here, this is the line that you actually do to generate new keys using SAT server key and SAT server cert. and then you copy them to the nginx certs, and then you just restart the nginx. I'm going to copy all of these 3 lines and put them into some kind of SSL cert gen and check. SSL gen check. Okay. So here we have to give the proper name. We can skip all of the country name, state, province, and one thing we cannot skip is the common name. Common name has to be SAT server local. Okay, if we actually check the status of nginx, we restarted it and it is running. Okay, now so see, containerdb is healthy, AP is running, but IP aggregator is only started. It's probably failed again. Yeah, it exited 13 seconds ago. Okay. So there is something wrong with the password again. Hold on. Okay, so what I did was just use Docker Compose down, just to bring down all of the Docker containers and restart them from scratch. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, healthy, started. Okay, let's see. Oh, perfect. We've got all 3 running. So apparently I was just using Docker Compose up and build D. I should have just brought them down. Yeah, because it regenerated the whole thing. Let's see the logs of the IP aggregator, as this is the most important one. 0 CD. I'm putting this thing here. So now it's saying connected to the database. Yeah, it's finally ready to just connect it to the database, ready to serve, blah, blah, and there's no any error messages. Okay. Now, because I generated all of the certificates, I added the SAT server local, added its common name, changed the settings in the etc. hosts folder. Let's actually see. Up and running. Yeah, seems to be working. Now, if I just do check my solution. Yeah, solution is correct. It took me 31 minutes. Oh my god. You used 2 clues. Anyways, this one is automatically closed. This machine is automatically terminated. Yeah, like I told you, this question is very hard. And like the scenario creator told me that they want to see how far you can go. So even if you don't get it on the first try, remember that this is one of the hardest scenarios. It's not a CTF, it's not a like pen testing type of lab, but it's just a broken web server, and you have to know quite a lot. You have to know many little things and files, config files that you have to tinker and tweak to make sure everything is running smoothly, right? Also, you need to know how to generate new certificates if they are expired. You need to know how to make sure this common name is recognized, what config file to look into, and what things to change. Yeah, this is a great machine, great scenario, and I'll see you next time.